Good afternoon, February the 1st, 2024. As you've known in the previous videos, I wrote a What Are You Gonna Do About It book called The Fiscals, The Reinvention of the United States by Affect, Not Effect. In the book The Fiscals, I implore you not to reform it. So I call for many things. Reinvention of the tax system, reinvention of the border, reinvention of our use of our first military base abroad at Guantanamo Bay, reinvention of the public school system, reinvention of the divorce law called no-fault divorce, and most importantly, the wall that Mexico could pay for. That's what I want to concentrate in this video. The wall that Mexico can pay for is not a wall in and of itself. It is an infrastructure project, a civil works project greater than, and most importantly than, domestically the Hoover Dam, and abroad the completion of the Panama Canal. I call it the Great Wall of Will. The will of the American people combined with the Great Wall of China, and that's where the name comes from. Freight line, not for passengers, but for cargo. It moves freight from San Diego to Brownsville, Texas, the entire 1,900 miles. I proposed this originally in the book, but soon thereafter, in 2015, I had conversations with the Ted Cruz for President campaign where I proposed it to a large group of people in a Zoom call. It wasn't taken lightly by many in the call, but it was inappropriate for me to impede the conversations that were presently going on. So naturally, it didn't go anywhere. Soon thereafter, Trump started saying out loud, "I'm going to build a wall that Mexico can pay for." Since my wall is the only wall that Mexico would pay for, naturally I thought maybe he was onto my idea, as I was quite publicly about it on a website called thegreatwallofwill.com. Today that site has been reposted on WSQFradio.com, my FM radio station, Blink Radio, Key Biscayne, locally on the 94.5 radio dial. You can tap on the Fiscals and see the entire ebook there. What's incredible about this idea is that it comes from a small business owner who can't build a freight train, can't build a bulwark 50 feet up in the air, and can't put a train on top of the bulwark with a natural gas pipeline running through it. By being ignored, great ideas needed to be investigated. In the Great Wall of Will chapter, I do the best I can to research the laws that permit such a transit way to be built. And if there are complications legally by Indian tribes, ranchers, and those who oppose such a trailway, such a monumental task, it can always be built on the Mexico side of the border. Because I was ignored, as you can see, my worst nightmare became true. As I said back then, there will come a day where a Democrat, a democommie, as I call them in the book, will open the borders to massive illegal immigration. Mind you, that's exactly what happened. So if you think it's impossible to build a train 50 feet up in the air, run by natural gas, liquid natural gas, which allows it to be exported worldwide, not to mention moving cargo faster than the Panama Canal, think again. Mexico has used this concept of a freight line, surface freight line. It moves passengers and cargo the entire length of the Yucatán Peninsula. It's obviously over budget at $22 billion. So you can imagine what ours would cost. It would definitely be over budget, but guess what? The private sector pays for it. All the government needs to do is give the easement. a relationship between Mexico and the United States would designate the easement. Obviously, Great Wall of Bill would stand for GWW on the New York Stock Exchange. The easement would be its collateral for a publicly traded company that would pay rent to the two countries for the easement, and natural gas pipeline companies, along with natural gas freight line locomotive manufacturing companies, would operate the Great Wall of Will. So the poorest cities in America, the poorest cities in Mexico, will now have incredible distribution hubs around and surrounding the train stations. Those are the areas in where the 50-foot bulwark would come to the surface, lowered slowly, and stop to unload cargo, creating a corridor of transport from what used to be east to west, west to east, to now north to south. There would be holes in the bulwark, tunnels, that would have scanning technology to scan the existing truck traffic that comes from the north and the south, naturally and realistically scanning contraband and illegal immigration. It would also unleash and expose all the existing tunnels between Mexico and the United States, the entire 1,900 miles, for the foundation of this massive civil works project. So if the train is 50 feet above the ground, there must be foundations 50 feet below the ground, at a minimum, to sustain such weight and traffic. So it eliminates that as well, while competing with the Panama Canal. And you think this is unreal? Well, Google a aqueduct that holds freight liners, huge ships, elevates them 300 feet in Belgium from one river to another, 9 kilometers, S-A-R-T. Google it, please, in Belgium. And guess what? It was in the 1800s that they commenced construction, and they've improved it since then. So if you can fill a canal of water over land between two rivers, why can't you build a train 50 feet up over land along a river? Think about that, folks. The idea always must be bigger than the problem. Thus, the fiscals. At Amazon bookstore, the fiscals reinvent the United States by affect, not effect. Stay free, my friends. This is Mac on the Rock, yours truly, the Concrete Conservative, on Blink Radio, 94.5 FM. Live stream worldwide, WSQF, radio.com.